we're go-getters. We're busy women. We do a lot of things. But when it comes to the matters of the heart, it doesn't work. You got to have a little bit of both, right? You can still do what you need to do, but you also be able to allow yourself to receive and let go of control. And that's the hardest part. But once they do it, they love it because they're like, yay, okay, I'm good now.
Welcome to Life Changing Money, a podcast all about one of the most taboo topics in the world, money. I'm your host, Barbara Strehans, and we're going behind the scenes on business owners' journeys to money, success, and wealth. Let's get started. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Life Changing Money. I am so excited to have Mrs. Byers. I was on your podcast.
Yes.
Tell the people the name of your podcast so they can instantly look you up.
Absolutely. So my podcast is called Love Stories with Charlene Byers. And I was able to interview you and hear all about your love story, which is pretty incredible. Seriously, that was so much fun.
So if you want to hear about how my husband and I met on Tinder, you can listen. You can listen to her podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
But what made you start a podcast about love stories?
Well, I think for me, I've always been very curious and interested in relationships. And, me being a relationship coach, I wanted to have a platform that I can bring on people that can share their journey, that relationships can go through situations and waves and all the things, but great love is really available. Because I just feel like a lot of times you hear so much about the negative about relationships, but I wanted people to get inspired and learn about, there's actually amazing relationships out there. Mm-hmm. And it's not necessarily, they weren't always amazing in the beginning, but you can turn around a relationship. And I wanted to give people that inspiration and that hope. I was just like, I'm fascinated about relationships.
And people listening were probably like, wait, did she just say she's a relationship coach?
Yeah. How
does one become a relationship coach?
So how does one become a relationship coach? I'm going to tell you how that happened. So I used to be an actual sales trainer. And I was very fortunate. I used to work with a lot of women. And so when I used to do sales training, I would help women make lots of money in the business or whatever we were selling. So whatever company I was at, that was my position. I would be the sales trainer, all the things. And then I realized when I was helping women when it came to business and sales, one of the things that genuinely really actually came up all the time was the matters of the heart. So I would work with very high achieving, successful women, but when it came to their romantic, relationship, they were struggling. So I've always had just a sense of relationships and understanding, I don't always have a female, but I always understood in a way, I had this understanding more of the male perspective. I grew up with all male. And I knew that there was a discussion and a conversation that needed to happen there with the women. And so I started having different conversations with them about relationships. And one after another, I found out that they were starting to get in good relationships, successful relationships. So I knew, okay, there's something here. So I would say, and I've done a lot of training, but not training necessarily when it came to an actual relationship coach, because I think my training is just the hundreds of conversations and that I've had with people and the things that they have applied to change it up. So yeah, that's what happened.
My husband would say that he got me because he's a good salesperson.
Yeah. Yeah.
So do you think that relationships as well have to do with how good you are at selling stuff?
Yeah, exactly. or not, right? Because usually what I think with relationships, I think what I've realized and just doing this for a while now is to have a good relationship, to find like someone that you are really going to be aligned with. I mean, it really comes down to from the beginning, just being able to show up yourself and not put on a facade or all those things. And so I think that's where it starts from. I think when you look at people and you find out who has awesome relationships, it's usually the people that allow themselves to just show up their true authentic self and all of that. But that's not what happens. That's not what happens. We kind of put on a facade. We put on this mask, I think, in the beginning. I think because we're nervous, we're not sure. And I don't think people are really taught relationships.
Yeah.
I really don't. I don't think people are really taught relationships.
And they play games and they don't really say how they feel.
They don't really say how they feel, or and then then like months go by, they're like, oh, I'm in a relationship and I don't even know this person. Yeah. I think that's what happens a lot.
Yeah. I think I even mentioned like on your podcast, one of the things I loved about my husband was that I was just like so real from the beginning because I didn't think it was going to go anywhere, right? Like we were on Tinder.
Yeah.
So it was just like, I'm just going to tell him like it is and like who I really am. And like, if he doesn't like it, who cares? Because it's not going to be a relationship. And then it turned into one.
And usually those are the ones that have the best success, is the ones that are not even expecting it to turn into something. There's no expectations. They're just kind of, okay, let's just see where this comes from. And when you are able to kind of drop that down, you get to really look at that. Look at you now with you and your man. Yeah. And she met on Tinder, you guys. And I tell people, I'm like, hey, don't knock their dating apps are pretty amazing.
Is that why people say like marry your best friend? Because you're probably more authentic with a best friend than
100%.
you are.
100%. 100%. If you don't have a solid friendship from the beginning, that is really going to affect you moving forward. It really does. And when you are able to genuinely, not just when you have an interest in getting to know someone, like really wanting to get to know that person, and not just on a romantic basis, but you're like very curious and you like hanging out with them and you enjoy them. And that to me is the key to a start of a good relationship. Because if you don't, like, think about that, like that's what dating is about. So in the beginning, you enjoy the person, you're dating, you're getting to know them, and you're becoming friends. But if you don't have that foundation, I think that's where people struggle. I really do. Because I think that's the best of a relationship. It's like your best friend liver.
So when people come to you, is it because they're looking to get in a relationship or they need to fix their relationship?
Both. So I would say, but the majority of the women that come to me are at a place in their life that maybe they've had a relationship before and they've also been concentrating more on their careers and, that kind of stuff. But they are definitely wanting, a real relationship, but I don't think they think it's possible anymore. I think that's what's happening. I think, I hear a lot like, where are the good men? Where, what's happened. And so I think they definitely desire a great relationship. They don't even know where to start. They don't even know where to start. They don't understand dating apps. They don't even understand, where to go, how to get out there, where to meet people. So that's who I would say the majority usually come to me. And then I deal with women that are already married and there's love there in the relationship, but things have gotten just kind of complacent. Like things have gotten a little, this is as good as it's going to get. So I love working with women like that too.
So we love talking about money. And they always say like money is the number one reason why people get divorced or break up. And that's probably mostly true, but there's probably some emotions with money as well.
Yes.
But do you see money problems in relationships as well?
You know what? That's interesting that you said that, because when I'm working with women, so let's say, for an example, single women, usually I'll say to them, we have love blocks, like things that, from our past, patterns from our past, ways that we think of relationships that can really keep us stuck. Usually those love blocks are
money blocks.
Yes. They go together. Isn't that, and I know you could speak on that too. That's very interesting how they go together, because once a woman is able to start clearing her relationship, what I call the relationship blocks, the money also starts flowing in a different way. So yes, I definitely think it goes together.
Yeah. Well, even just thinking like a scarcity mindset, right? Same with love. If they're thinking that there is no love available to them, that's a scarcity mindset.
Yep.
So once you clear scarcity, it doesn't matter if it's money, if it's love, if it's friends.
It's true.
Whatever, it's scarcity.
Yeah.
So get it out.
Get it out. We got to get it out. I think that's what it is. I don't understand why people fear the getting it out. Like, when you say do the work, you know what the work is? The work to me is such a gift because it gives you an opportunity to be able to look backwards and see those moments in time or what, or moments or whatever you want to call that, where things shifted for you.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you just don't, you think you know it, but you really don't know it. And it's kind of like being able to get down to the root cause. That's what I call it. It's got to get down to the root cause. Once you're able to get down to the root cause, other things start clearing up. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
It's all together. It's like other things start clearing up. Your relationships start clearing up. Your money starts clearing up. Your perspective, your way of thinking, your confidence.
Mm-hmm.
I just think it's so powerful. I really do. I really think it's so powerful.
A lot of people listening to the podcast are probably the breadwinners in their relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So they're the ones making more money than their significant other.
Mm-hmm.
Or they're just like the really successful woman that maybe is single.
Mm-hmm.
How I think a lot of people, let's take the female single breadwinner.
Okay.
Probably has a block around finding a man that makes less money than her.
Correct.
How do they get around that mindset?
So usually what happens with women that have that block, they have been doing the whole taking care of everyone for a long time. So it is such a challenge going from pretty much being in survival, pretty much being the one that does all the things, to being able to shift your energy into allowing, another partner also to be able to help you. And what happens is, this is very interesting. Usually what it is they don't even know, like seriously, how to receive.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the most uncomfortable thing, like, because they're programming for so many years, they believe that their worth, who they are, is the doer and doing all the things, getting all the things done, even though that's wonderful, but they're exhausted. Exhausted. So it's learning the shift of going from the doing to be able to start learning how to take a deep breath. It's okay. And learn how to receive. Once they're able to make that connection, things will start shifting for them. Then they won't have such a hard time understanding, okay, it's not necessarily like if he's making more, I'm making more. It's really coming down to how we support and help one another. So I think women have a really hard time, women that are in that type of energy, have a really, really, really hard time in getting the support and even feeling good about the support. It feels funky. It's like, I can do it by myself. I'm like, yes, I know you can, but you're exhausted. And so that's what I've noticed. That's what I noticed with us higher achieving women. We're goal-getters. We're busy women. We do a lot of things, but when it comes to the matters of the heart, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. You got to have a little bit of both, right? You can still do what you need to do, but you also be able to allow yourself to receive and let go of control. And that's the hardest part. But once they do it, they love it because they're like, yay, okay, I'm good now. So that's what I love. That's the discovery I love women to go through.
And what about for the women that are the business owners, probably in their masculine all day long? And then they have to switch 5 o'clock to their feminine. A lot of women have a hard time doing that.
They do.
Do you have tips and tricks?
Well, what I teach them is, even though they've been so used to being in their masculine, and they've always felt that their masculine is what's got that energy, right? The doers, the getting things done. They've always felt that energy is the only energy that they need to have to do that. What I teach them is how they can actually learn how to be still successful and jump into their feminine, and not just be in their feminine when they're in a romantic relationship. Be in their feminine when they are working, being their feminine when they're also, raising their family, being their feminine when they are in a romantic relationship. It's a mind shift. Mm-hmm. It's a mind shift because when we talk about energies, we always constantly think that to get things done, to do, it is the masculine energy. Well, this is what's fascinating. The feminine energy is all about receiving and magnetizing things to us. So it's kind of like the flip. When they learn how to actually let go of that control and allow things to naturally magnetize and not having to do all the things, that's the shift. So they start learning, okay, so I don't necessarily have to shift my energy. I can still have a little bit of my masculine and my feminine throughout the day, and how that really allows them to have such a different sense of calmness, such a different sense of a peace in them. Because with the masculine is constantly it's very thinking, it's very doing, right? But when you're dropping back into your feminine, it's feeling, it's your intuition, it's magnetizing. So that's what I love to teach. That's what I love to teach. I love to teach women. It's not necessarily that something's wrong with your masculine, but you don't have to have one or the other. You can actually learn how to be in both in a way that feels good. Because that's what I ask women. I mean, how do you actually feel? And usually what I hear is, I'm exhausted. I'm tired. I'm doing all the things. I'm not getting, I feel like I have to do more to get more, all that. But learning the opposite of that is when the shift starts happening.
Well, before this, you were telling me you've been an entrepreneur forever.
Forever, mama.
So tell us, what was your first?
Oh, gosh. My first entrepreneur job?
Yeah.
You ready? Back in the day, so when I was in high school, I had my senior year in high school, I had an opportunity. You only went to school. I think I went to school for a couple hours, and then they had this work program.
Okay.
And I got connected with a daycare, and I'll never forget the name. It was called Teddy Bear Childcare. Mary Sue Watson was the owner. And she really, honestly, she was my angel. She took such a liking to me. She wanted to show me everything, how to run a business. So when I started working there, I was a little cleaner.
Okay.
And I used to just kind of clean and do all the things. And then I went up to the kitchen, and then I was like the kitchen person. And then I think I was like the floater. And then I became one of the teachers. And then to the point that I became, the front desk lady. And then I was running the business.
Ooh.
And so not only that, when I was running the business, I learned all about how to run a daycare, how to run a business. So I ended up getting pregnant very young. And I got pregnant when I was 18 years old, and I had my son when I was 19. And so at the time, I needed to get a job. And I wasn't doing the daycare thing anymore. Not that little ship has, passed. But I had all that knowledge. And so I remember getting a job because I was like, I have to get a real job now because I'm a mom and I got to bring in, whatever. And so I remember getting the job, and I lasted 2 weeks putting him in daycare.
Yeah.
So the daycare fired me. It was so bad because I had this phone job. I remember I was a receptionist. I don't even know what I was doing. It was called Taylor Medical. And you couldn't move. You had to sit there and be on the phone, the whole time.
Yeah.
And I would call every time I had a moment. I would call the daycare that Joshua was in, my son, because I was only there to check. And to the point, they actually looked at me one time when I came to pick him up, and they put me in the office, and they're like, we want to talk to you. Some moms are not prepared for this. Because it wasn't normal, they said, like how I called. I mean, they were really kind and stuff, but pretty much so I was like, what am I going to do now? They fired me. But I was so happy. So what do you think happened? I was like, oh.
Did you start a daycare?
I started a daycare.
Genius.
And I remember I was like, well, how am I even going to do this? How am I going to get kids? So at the time I asked my mom. My mom had a home that she lived in a area that was like a more busy area. So it wasn't so residential. It was it was here in the west side of town, actually. But the area it was residential, but it was kind of business. So her home was perfect at the time. And so I said, okay, Mom, I'm going to turn your home into a daycare.
What did you say?
Licensed daycare. And she's like, huh? I'm like, yeah, I need it because, Joshua, all the stuff. And at the time too, she's like, well, how are we going to get like kids? What are we going to do? How are we going to do license? Like, what are we going to do? I said, I'm going to figure this out. But we need clients first, Mom. So I remember just this is a long time ago, girlfriend. This is bad. This is a long time ago. I remember making flyers. I didn't even know how I did it. And I went to,
with markers,
literally with markers. Okay. And I went to, at the time it was on 43rd Avenue in Indian School. If you guys are familiar here with Arizona, there was a Kmart. Okay. And then this is great. My first language is Spanish. So I was in an area that was, had Spanish. So I would have my flyers and the people come out of the Kmart and say, ay, mira, yo tengo un daycare. And I was like, seriously. And I was like, mira, ¿te puedo coger los niños aquí? And so people were like, huh? And I started getting a couple clients. And I was like, oh, okay, ¿dónde? Where are you at? And so then they came. And then once they saw the place was immaculate, my energy, I love children.
Yeah.
And I always thought, I'm going to run this daycare. And we had the best run. Had it for 11 years. I said, I want to run this daycare just like I would want it as if Joshua was going there.
Oh,
I know. That was my first. It was a very successful business. And then we ended up expanding. And
so why not daycare now?
Daycare to me at the time, it was a business that I lived there.
Yeah.
Meaning that's such a big responsibility. And I had great staff. I had a full staff. We had like 175 kids. I had a full staff. But the responsibility and constant making sure, it was all the time. I needed to step away.
Yeah.
I needed to step away.
It's like having 175 children, of your own kids.
I ended up doing consulting to help other people, open up daycare. So if you ever, that's kind of my jam too. I get it in every way. But then I just moved on. I, kept moving on. But yeah, that was my first.
I love it.
Yeah.
Were you able to sell that business?
Oh, yes. And then I actually became a stay-at-home mom for a little while.
Good.
Yes, I loved it. I became a stay-at-home mom for a while, and that to me was one of my favorite jobs in the whole wide world.
Wait, you told me you have a funny story.
Yes.
Because you have twins.
I do.
You thought your last baby was going to be the third.
Yes.
But it was the third and the fourth.
Yes.
So how was your reaction?
Oh my gosh. Crazy, because I remember I already had 2 boys. And okay, this is a good story. So I had 2 boys, and I remember thinking, I feel like somebody's missing. I had this itch. I was like, somebody's missing. But then I thought, oh, I really want a girl. Okay, I really wanted a girl. So I remember going to my husband at the time, my ex-husband, and I said to him, I really feel like somebody's missing, but I really want a girl. And he's like, okay. And I said, but I don't think I can get pregnant knowing that I want a girl. And then if I have a boy, that's not going to be cool. And he's like, he was so confused with me. I'm like, no, I'm serious. And he's like, okay. I said, so I don't think we can do it. Because, no, I did. I really, and now he's like, so you said that someone's missing, but you can't do it because you really want a girl, but you think you might have a boy because you have, I'm like, yeah, all that. And he's like, okay. And I said, no, I don't want to have a baby just really wanting a girl. I want to have a baby if I just wanted a baby, but I feel like I really want a girl, so that's it. He's like, okay. Fast forward a year later. I go to him, I said, you know what? I'm okay. I said, I don't need a girl. I said, if I get a girl, awesome. I said, but if I get a boy, awesome. I said, I have this peace that it doesn't matter. So I think I'm ready now. And he's like, okay. So you know that you might have a girl or a boy. And about a year ago, you told me, and I said, no, I am genuinely okay. I have been feeling like somebody else is coming, but it doesn't matter now. It don't matter if it's a boy or a girl. He's like, okay, cool. So we do the thing.
So you get to work.
And then it was I got pregnant, and then I think it was Halloween, and I just was barely pregnant. So maybe I was 3 months pregnant. And this was really weird. So I'm 3 months pregnant. We're at a Halloween little party, and I had like a little outfit on. And yeah, I'll be honest, I was showing, right? But I'm not thinking anything because I'm thinking I already had 2 kids. What's the big deal?
Yeah.
So one of my girlfriends comes out to me and she's like, Charlene, when did you get pregnant? And I'm like, oh, I just been pregnant. I've been pregnant for like 3 months. They're like, oh, no, that's not true. I'm like, what are you talking about? They're like, you look huge. Like, that doesn't look like no 3 months. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm 3 months. And I was so frustrated. I'm like, no, I know when I got pregnant. I know the day I got pregnant. So she said that was kind of weird for me. And she's like, wow, that looks weird. But I'm not really thinking much of it. But I kind of was a little offended because I'm like,
Yeah, you call me fat?
What's wrong? Yeah, exactly. So then I noticed that this pregnancy, because I already had 2 other kids, I noticed this pregnancy, I was popping out quick. Again.
But you do the more you have.
Yeah. Exactly. I'm thinking, you know what? I already had 2 kids. Get over it, girl. This is what happens. Okay, cool. So then we go to go see the heartbeats. This is the very first time. So I barely, 3 months pregnant, but they're going to go, or maybe even, I don't even know, it was really early on. So we go into the room and they have this, they have a little screen. It's just a little screen.
For the ultrasound?
For the ultrasound. Yeah. Okay. So they're going to see the heartbeats. So my ex-husband's sitting right here. I'm right here. And they have them, in me to see the ultrasound. So I'm looking at that screen, girlfriend. I'm staring at it. I don't see anything yet, right? It's just one little screen. And I'm supposed to be seeing this little thing like this, right? Okay, so I'm looking at it. So then my doctor goes, Charlene, do you see what I see? And I'm like, and all of a sudden, no, seriously, all of a sudden I see the little heartbeat.
Okay.
I see one, okay. I see the little heartbeat. I'm like, yes. I was like so excited. I'm like, yes. Okay, everything's good. I say, everything good? She said, everything's great. Charlene, do you see what I see? And now I'm like, yes.
Something wrong.
I seen it, and I'm excited and I'm seeing the little thing. And she's like, now the lady has this face of like, is Charlene this clueless? Like, what is she? How can she not see what we're seeing? I turn over to see my ex. The guy's face is white. I couldn't make this up. He couldn't even talk. So now I'm freaking out.
So he saw it.
Oh, yes, he did. Because he saw the 2 heartbeats. I'm not seeing 2 heartbeats. I'm only seeing 1. So then I'm like, what's wrong with you? Because I was wondering, why does he have this face? So now, of course, I'm a mom. So I'm thinking the worst of the worst.
Yeah.
I'm not thinking twins, girlfriend. I'm not ever thinking twins. That never even came to my mind.
Yeah.
Never. She's like, I'm like, what is going on? Is something wrong? Is my baby okay? Like, I was actually starting to cry. I was freaking out. She goes, hon, look, you're having twins. She took like the little dot to dot. She's like, here's the first heartbeat. And they're white neck. They're like, just kind of like that. And here's the second one. And I'm like, no, I'm not ready for this. That was me. I was like, I can't even imagine. I don't even know what to say right now. She said, well, just congratulations. She was just like, congratulations. But yeah, and then guess what? I ended up having
a boy and a girl.
Yeah.
You manifested it.
I did. I manifested it. And it was interesting too, because I knew, Barbara, that there was one more, but I didn't want to get pregnant. I was getting older, right? I'm young. I'm only 52. But I didn't want to, I knew probably I wasn't going to do it again. But I always was like, oh man, I want to have 4s. I want to have a couple. I want to have like 2 and 2 or something like that. So it kind of worked out.
And now they're going to go to college.
They're going to go to college. They're turning 18 next month.
I love that.
I know. It's been the best ride of my life, being a mom. It is truly the biggest joy for me. I love it.
What do you want your kids to know about relationships?
I've been talking to those kids about relationships, I think ever since they were born. And what I've always wanted them to know about relationships, that relationships should be kind, loving, fun. I always tell them, I'm like, listen, life is hard. Life is really hard. But when you find your person, you'll know it's right, because you'll feel like it's like we said earlier, it's being with your best friend. It's having each other, help each other grow, help each other through life. It is having a partner that you can, truly, genuinely rely on. And I think it's the most magical thing in the whole wide world. But you got to pick right. Mm-hmm. And you got to make sure that you also are showing up your true authentic self. And I really believe that you can have an amazing relationship, and you guys can grow and you can mature and have fun. And that's what it's about. So that's what I tell them. I said, relationship shouldn't be that hard. I said, because life is going to be hard. Relationship should be where we come for support and love and connection. that's what I've always told them. I said, you got to have great relationships.
Well, for everyone listening and they're like, dang, I need help on my relationship. Where can they find you?
Well, I would definitely have them take a listen to the podcast, and which is Love Stories with Charlene Byers podcast. I have incredible guests. I have incredible conversations to really help all of us just, learn, enhance our relationships. And I'm really active on Instagram. And so they can reach me at Miss Charlene Byers. So it's MSCHARLENE Byers, BYARS. Plus I have a website and stuff. So I always let people know. I said, just kind of get in my world, see what I'm about, see how I can help you, because that's what I'm about. I'm really here to help people have the most amazing relationships with themselves and with the people they love.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you. You're amazing.
You're amazing.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Life Changing Money. Don't forget to subscribe, and I would love if you left a review and shared it with your friends. See you next time.